Hello and welcome, my friends. In this video, we return once again to the world of serial killers and mysterious stories. However, this particular killer is still being hunted by investigators to this day. Take a deep breath and get ready for the story of the mysterious Zodiac killer. Friends, in this video, you will see and hear about this killer who will undoubtedly capture all your attention. The story of this killer and his crimes have sparked widespread controversy. He mocked law enforcement, and his secret remains unknown to this day. The Zodiac killer terrified people in the 1960s and remains a mystery to the police even now. Scary, isn't it? I won't keep you long with the introduction, so let's dive into the core of the matter about the truth of the mysterious Zodiac killer. Who is the mysterious Zodiac killer? That's what we'll find out in the next section. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to get all new updates. The Zodiac killer is a serial killer who terrorized Northern California in the 1960s. This case is considered one of the most mysterious and remains unsolved to this day. On December 20th, 1968, the victims David Faraday, a 17-year-old young man, and Betty Jensen, a 16-year-old girl, were on their first date. They planned to attend a Christmas party at Hogan High School, located 3 blocks from Betty's house. Instead, they visited a friend before stopping at a local restaurant and using Herman Road. Around 10 p.m., David parked his car in a well-known lover's lane. Shortly after, around 11 p.m., a woman named Stella Boggs, who lived nearby, found their bodies. Initial investigations indicated another car had parked next to theirs. It appears that Zodiac was in the second car, approached David's car, and asked them to step out. The forensic report suggested Betty got out first while David was in the process of exiting, at which point the killer shot David in the head. Betty was killed 28 feet away from the car with 5 shots to her back. The killer then got into his car and drove away. On July 4, 1969, just before midnight, Michael Renault, 19, and Darlene Ferrin, 20, headed to Blue Rock Springs Park near Vallejo, about 4 miles from the previous crime scene. While they sat in Darlene's car, another car approached, stopped next to them, and quickly left, only to return 10 minutes later and park behind them. The driver approached their car with a 9mm Luger pistol and a flashlight, shining the light into their eyes before shooting them 5 times. Some of the bullets passed through Michael and hit Darlene. The killer heard Michael moaning, returned, and shot them both twice more before driving away. At 12 noon on July 5, 1969, a man called Vallejo Police Department claiming responsibility for the attack, also confessing to the murders of Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday. The call was traced to a phone booth near a gas station close to Darlene's home and a few blocks from the police department. Darlene Ferrin died in the hospital, but Michael Renault survived despite being shot in the face, neck, and chest. On August 1, 1969, Zodiac sent 3 letters to several newspapers in Vallejo and San Francisco. These nearly identical letters claimed responsibility for the attacks at Lake Herman and Blue Rock Springs. Each letter contained 480 encrypted symbols, which the killer claimed included his identity. He also demanded the letters be published on the front page of each newspaper, threatening to kill lone people at night otherwise. On August 7, 1969, another letter was sent to the San Francisco Examiner with the salutation, "Dear Editor, this is the Zodiac speaking." This was the first time the killer used this name to identify himself. The letter responded to Vallejo Police Chief Jack Stiltz's request for more proof, providing details not released to the public. Zodiac also mentioned that the police would find him once they cracked his code. On August 8, 1969, Donald and Betty Harden from Salinas, California, cracked the cipher. On September 27, 1969, Brian Hartnell, 20, and Cecilia Shepard, 22, were picnicking at Lake Berryessa when a man approached them, wearing glasses and a necklace with a cross. He claimed to be an escaped convict and needed their car and money to go to Mexico. He then tied them up before stabbing them repeatedly. A father and son fishing nearby heard their screams and alerted park rangers. Shepard was conscious when help arrived, providing details about the killer before slipping into a coma and dying 2 days later. Hartnell survived to tell his story. At 7 p.m., the killer called the Napa County Sheriff's Office to report his crime. The phone was traced to a phone booth only a few blocks from the sheriff's office and 27 miles from the crime scene. Investigators lifted prints from the phone but could not match them to any suspects. On October 11, 1969, a man got into a cab driven by Paul Stein at the intersection of Mason and Geary Streets, near Union Square. He asked to be taken to Washington and Maple Streets. For unknown reasons, Stein took a different route, and the passenger shot him in the head, stole his wallet and keys, and tore a piece of his bloodied shirt. 3 teenagers across the street witnessed the incident and called the police. On October 30, 1966, 18-year-old Sherry Jo Bates spent the evening at the Riverside City College Library until it closed at 9 p.m. Neighbors reported hearing screams around 10:30 p.m. Bates was found dead, beaten, and stabbed between 2 abandoned houses scheduled for demolition. A men's Timex watch was found near the body. The police did not initially link this case to Zodiac as it occurred much earlier. In November 1966, a letter titled Confession was sent to the Riverside Police and the Riverside Press Enterprise, claiming responsibility for Bates' murder, with details not released to the public. In December 1966, a poem titled Sick of Living/Unwilling to Die was found on a desk at the Riverside City College Library, written in a style similar to Zodiac's letters. On April 30, 1967, exactly 6 months after Bates' murder, her father, the Riverside Police, and the Riverside Press Enterprise received nearly identical letters saying, Bates had to die. There will be more, signed with a Z. On March 16, 1971, after an article by Paul Avery about Bates, Zodiac sent a letter to the Los Angeles Times, praising the police for uncovering his activities in Riverside and hinting at more undiscovered actions there. The Zodiac was angered by the police dismissing the cab driver's murder as unrelated. On October 13, 1969, he sent a letter to the San Francisco Chronicle, claiming responsibility and including a piece of Stein's shirt. On November 8, 1969, Zodiac sent a 340-character cipher to local newspapers, which remained unsolved until December 2020. It was cracked by software engineer David Oranchak, Australian mathematician Sam Blake, and Belgian programmer Jarl van Eyck. The message denied being the person who claimed to be Zodiac, expressing no fear of the gas chamber, as it would send him to paradise, having enough slaves to serve him there. Numerous other letters and postcards followed, bearing Zodiac's signature cross-circle symbol. The investigation remained open, with no definitive resolution until October 6, 2021, when a team called the Casebreakers, consisting of 40 former law enforcement and others, identified the Zodiac as Gary Francis Post, a former Air Force serviceman. The team linked Post to Zodiac through various pieces of evidence, including photos and encrypted messages. The FBI and San Francisco Police Department, however, did not accept these conclusions, citing the inability to question Post, who died in 2018. As a result, the Zodiac case remains officially unsolved. So, friends, this was what we had on the Zodiac Killer, the serial murderer who terrorized entire cities and remains a mystery to this day, like many criminals such as Jack the Ripper and D.B. Cooper. With advances in forensic science and criminology, will scientists and researchers one day solve the Zodiac Killer's codes? Share your thoughts in the comments after hearing the investigations and theories. Who do you think the Zodiac Killer is?